Cameroon's intermediate Lions play a 1-1 tie with the Eagles of Mali. Get highlights of this crucial game with CRTV's battery of reporters deployed to the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium. A new beginning in the history of the United States of America. A new administration, Biden-Harris, sworn into office as the nation looks forward in healing its divide. High moments of America's 46th president in this newscast. As Joe Biden is sworn in with the mandate to rebuild American relations, we look at perspectives of cooperation between Yaoundé and Washington, D.C. in the 7:30 news. Coming up right now, right here in Studio 5 of CRTV, Ballot 2. And those are our top stories. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the 7:30 news. I am Gladys Tata.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
The intermediate Lions of Cameroon have played a 1-1 all tie against the intermediate Eagles of Mali. Cameroon's goal came through a free kick in the 5th minute by Salomon Banga Binjeme, and Mali got the equalizer through a free kick as well by Isale Samake in the 11th minute. Cameroon and Mali now temporarily top Group A with 4 points each. Benin Ghana is standing by at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium, where the after-match atmosphere is said to be one of mixed feelings about the Lions' draw. Hello, Baldwin, Benin. So what's the latest from that end, Benin?
Hi Gladys, welcome to the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium, where the fans are still here, very, very expectant. And of course, the next Cameroon's next challenges in Group A are meeting down the turf in the next 30 minutes. Zimbabwe against Burkina Faso, where each team will be fighting very hard to get the available 3 points. You already know that the 1-1 draw between Cameroon and Mali has lifted both teams atop Group A with 4 points each. So it is therefore still very open. Either Zimbabwe or Mali, they get the 3 points and stand on the 3rd position and make the last day of play for the group phase in Group A very, very complicated. Or they play on a draw, and Cameroon and Mali can say they are through to the next phase. Well, there are so many persons, like I'm saying, we got hundreds of fans coming in from Douala. I'm talking about Malian fans to support their team, and you should know that today, for all those who came here, they took a step further as far as barrier measures against COVID is concerned. Besides respecting the social distancing, besides having your mask, for many persons, they asked them to show their COVID-19 test result. Positive, you're kept aside. Negative, you're brought inside. For now, the Zimbabwean team and the Burkina team are on the turf, warming up for the next match, which is equally going to be very tough. And I'll be bringing that match to you, I and Evariste Eyinga. Live from the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium, Benin Ghana. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Benin Ghana, and hope to be in your company again, maybe during the next in the Intermediate Lions encounter. And as we want to return to highlights of that match, which ended in a 1-1 tie, Sirinwa Zeke rolls back the tape for us in this newscast.
Lions and Eagles, two teams who actually mastered the game. A tough start of the match with the Lions constructing play from their own end. An early incursion from Cameroon goes off target. The boys of Mpile mount pressure and earn a free kick. Junior Fede gets the kick from the right flank. Salomon Banga Binjeme connects with a beautiful header in the 5th minute for the curtain raiser. Cameroon leads. From the 6th minute of play, Mali takes control of the game, pressures Cameroon's midfielders, gets to the defenders and benefit a free kick. Mali's Isaka Samake beautifully executes the free kick. The helpless Ashu Kerido can only see the ball sailed through. Mali 1, Cameroon 1. Score at half-time. In the second half, keeper Ashu Kerido of PWD of Bamenda, after Cameroon touched the Malian crossbar, saves Cameroon after a one-on-one duel with the Malian attacker in the 63rd minute. Mali's technical play style must have paid off, and Cameroon's endurance conceded only a draw. Both teams now temporarily lead Group A after the 1-1 draw with 4 points each.
Fans converged on the Lions fan village at the esplanade of the Yaoundé City Hall and at viewing spots at the city centre to watch the Cameroon-Mali encounter. A fan zone virtually took its seat in these places, bringing a lot of warmth and excitement as the game went on. Beatrice Ngom was in the heart of the game of fans. Beatrice, here's our report.
They kept straight faces as the anthem sang. From the first minute of play, their body movements became unusual. Their popular side could not be tamed when at the 6th minute, Salomon Banga Bijemi rekindled their hope. But again, at the 12th minute, the boys from Bamako retaliated with a brilliant goal that left fans of Cameroon worried. Fans, who though bitter over the draw, continue to cheer every action from the intermediate Lions while they sipped bottle after bottle of beer as their thirst for another goal heightened. Be it at the fan zone situated at the esplanade of the Yaoundé Town Hall or at the Lions fan village at the Central Post Office, these diehards, no matter the posture, did not miss out on any action of the Ntungum Pile boys.
We are champions. And on to our lead story, United States 46th president, who has just been sworn in, has served 6 terms as senator and was vice president in Barack Obama's administration. President Joe Biden, fondly called middle-class Joe, chose a transitional figure, Kamala Harris, as vice. Harris will be writing her own page in the U.S. history books as first woman of color. To understand how these two found their way to the pinnacle of American politics, Beatrice Losamba completes that details.
From modest beginnings in hometown Scranton, northeastern Pennsylvania, to the pinnacle of U.S. politics, becoming a president is a lifelong dream come true for Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., who has been 3-time candidate for the country's highest office. Vice president under the Obama administration, the now 46th U.S. president had a sure and steady rise through the ranks of the Democratic Party. Biden graduated from law school and briefly worked as an attorney before turning to politics. He became one of the country's youngest senators at 29 with his surprise victory in 1972. As all his wildest dreams seemed to be coming true, Mr. Biden lost his wife Nila and daughter Naomi in a tragic accident a few weeks after his inaugural Senate election. Later in 2015, he lost his son Beau to brain cancer. This explains why healthcare is his signature policy. As his vice, Biden has Kamala Harris, daughter of an immigrant, the first woman of color, first woman to be sworn in as vice president, and she hopes as she leads, others will follow. This inspirational figure in the U.S. and India, her father's country of origin, has an African background, born to a Jamaican mother. She became the first female Attorney General of California, the first Indian American to the Senate, where she served on several select committees, skills she used to reinforce her case for the Biden presidency. Today, the highest-ranking female elected official, the 56-year-old, pitches herself as one focused on historically marginalized groups like women, people of color, and low-income Americans, and is described as having the baggage needed to support Biden's presidency.
Joe Biden has been sworn in with a mandate to rebuild American alliances, including a strengthened relation with Cameroon. This will be in content and style, at the political and economical and even in the social domain. Charles Ebune looks at the stakes for Cameroon in the Biden American administration.
Over the past few months, the United States has injected plus 12 billion CFA francs into the Cameroonian health system. The Biden administration plans to work with the BIA government to collectively tame COVID-19.
We're all in COVID together, right? Joe Biden's #1 priority is going to be to end the pandemic and to pull the United States economy out of this recession. But you know what, Charles? That's President Bia's #1 priority.
To establish a perfect hotline, there is need for a tremendous official at the State Department who perfectly understands the complexities of Cameroon. How will you like the Biden administration to engage with President Bia quickly?
The first step is to appoint somebody tremendous, into the role of Assistant Secretary for African Affairs.
Joe Biden was Obama's vice president for 8 years, part of the administration which dispatched 300 American boys in Cameroon to combat terrorism.
He sees rebuilding the economy as the moment in which we make the transition that we should have made long ago to a clean energy economy.
And possibly the respect of state democratic institutions for a workable democracy will be one of the threats to link the Yaoundé-Washington hotline in the Joe Biden era.
And Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. has been sworn in as the 46th President of the United States of America this Wednesday. He is taking office at a moment of profound economic, health, and political crisis, with a promise to seek unity after a tumultuous 4 years that tore at the fabric of America's society. Joe Biden sworn in alongside Kamala Harris, who is the first woman and the first woman of color to serve as Vice President. Joe and Kamala Harris will work hard to protect, preserve, and defend the Constitution. Constantine Baum watched the inaugural ceremony and put together the following report.
Today's inauguration of Joe Biden was like no other in America's history of presidential inaugurations. The inauguration took place amidst extraordinary political, public health, economic and national security crises, including outgoing President Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 U.S. presidential election, which incited a storming of the Capitol. This ceremony was limited to members of the 117th U.S. Congress, and for each one guest of their choosing. Public health measures such as mandatory face coverings, testing and social distancing were used to protect participants in the ceremony. Then came the key moment with an invocation by Father Leo Donovan for God to help the president meet his task and unite the American people. Lady Gaga, in her career, had one of her biggest spotlight by singing the U.S. national anthem in such an event watched worldwide. The ritual transfer of power came shortly after Kamala Harris was sworn in as Vice President by Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Her ascension made her the highest-ranking woman in the history of the United States and the first Black American and first person of South Asian descent to hold America's second-highest office. The long-awaited moment came with the 46th President Joe Biden sworn in by Chief Justice John Roberts. The ceremony was attended by former presidents like Barack Obama, George Walker Bush, Bill Clinton, alongside former First Ladies. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic and recent attack on Capitol building, the absence of Donald Trump, there was a change of power in the United States government.
And follow a special program on Biden inauguration at 9 p.m. on CRTV News, Channel 306 and Canal Sat. And the Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, Jules Doré-Ndongo, has received in audience the German ambassador to Cameroon, Her Excellency Karin Fricke. They both discussed ideas on how to better preserve ongoing projects in the Congo Basin and a handful of other projects financed thanks to Cameroon-German cooperation. Here's an excerpt of the German ambassador to Cameroon, Karin Fricke, after that audience.
The main goal, especially the cooperation between the minister as president of COMIFAC and the facilitator, Dr. Christian Ruck, is very good. We are aware that we can achieve only the results we want if we win also the population and give the population a perspective and make it economically important to protect the forest and the natural resources, because it's a heritage of Cameroon, but also international and global heritage.
And over to the Northwest region, some 400 households of internally displaced persons in Bamenda have received relief items within the framework of the Emergency Humanitarian Assistance Plan. The items were handed by Minister of Territorial Administration Paul Atanganji. CRTV Special Envoy to the Northwest region, Ebenezer Akanga, reports that the internally displaced persons expressed gratitude to the head of state, President Paul Biya.
The relief items included soap, blankets, buckets, food items, and mattresses. In all, 400 households benefited from the donation, which falls within the framework of the Emergency Humanitarian Assistance Plan set up by the head of state. The relief items were handed by the Minister of Territorial Administration.
We are very, very happy for the gesture the President of the head of state have made to offer us these gifts.
At this time, it's a sure sign that we have a father who is always there to support us no matter the times.
The donation will greatly alleviate the sufferings of the IDPs.
So we are sure that we are going to eat something or we are going to sleep comfortably. That's because His Excellency has been there for us. So I personally am grateful.
We are thanking the head of state that he will always be remembering us.
The IDPs exhibited their joy and support to the head of state through messages on placards and dances. They also brandished peace plans calling for a return to peace in the Northwest region.
The pioneer president of the East Regional Council has taken the oath of office. Wamene Mbele was sworn in to his functions as regional president of the East by the president of the governor in the presence of the governor of the East region, Gregoire Vongo. Details with Robert Mokom Acho.
Wamene Mbele, the president-elect of the East Regional Council, fully stretched his right hand in the air and took an oath before men and God that he will, according to the prescriptions of the law, carry out his functions without fear or favor.
I've committed myself to fulfill all my mission with respect of the law.
Before the oath that took place under the watchful eyes of East Governor Gregoire Vongo and the crowd that rendered the court hall full to the brim, the Procurator General stressed on many issues concerning the functions of the President of the Regional Council and its executive members, reminding him of the fact that all his actions must be legal. Decentralization is not a synonym of independence, and in all decentralization, there is co-administration. The population of the East region is counting on Wamene Mbele, who has occupied many posts of responsibility, with the most recent being the government delegate of the Betua City Council, to put into practice his sound academic background and professional experience to merit being elected as president of the Pioneer Regional Council of the East region.
The context, stakes and major guidelines of the 2020-2030 National Development Strategy have been explained to key actors of the economy at a workshop in Yaoundé, chaired by the Minister of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development. Alamin Usman May, during the seminar, said the National Development Strategy was the green light that Cameroon's goal to reach emergency in 2035 will be achieved. So he called on everyone to put in place to structurally transform the economy. As you tell us, Gerard Nanji Eyambe.
One of the conditions for the successful implementation of the National Development Strategy is that the annual growth rate rises to 8.5% over the 2020-2030 period. To achieve this goal, stakeholders must assume their responsibility.
With this new strategy, we are aiming at a structural transformation for our economy towards inclusive development.
Deliberations at this workshop have the overall objective of fostering a shared understanding amongst the actors.
To disclose, explain and exchange about the 4 pillars of the strategy, the mechanism that will help us implement properly and make a proper monitoring and evaluation. Mobilization of the private sector.
Launched in November 16, 2020, the National Development Strategy seeks to make Cameroon an emerging nation, united in its diversity by 2035.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
On to our COVID-19 slot. In this edition, we take you over to Douala to find out how health experts ensure that anti-COVID-19 barrier measures are respected in the different stages by spectators. Baldwin Sama is at the Bepanda Municipal Stadium with his guest, Dr. Leona Ewane, to give us details. Hi, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Gladys Tata. Welcome to the Bepanda Municipal Stadium. I should say it becomes difficult at times to control or to ensure that the different spectators respect the outlined barrier measures when they find themselves in the different stadia already when they have bought their ticket. We find out from our guest tonight, Leona Ewane, a field epidemiologist, what measures have been put in place to ensure that the different spectators respect the outlined barrier measures, such as physical distancing in the different stadia and equally the wearing of face mask. Explain to us how is this ensured?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Sama. It should be recalled here that all the barrier measures must and have been respected at the level of the stadium. And these barrier measures, if we have to mention it, people are supposed to wear their face masks, covering their nose and their mouth correctly. People are supposed to observe social distancing. That should be 1 meter or 1.5 meters from one person to another. And then equally, it should be mentioned that hand sanitizers have been put at every place inside the stadium and even around where the officials sit. Having a COVID negative test is a prerequisite for entry into the stadium. But this instruction is only limited to all actors, teams, and officials. You know, as far as the competition is concerned, spectators are not supposed to do their COVID tests before coming to the stadium, but they are supposed to respect the barrier measures.
Thank you so much, Leonard Ewane, for all those explanations and details with regards to the respect of these different outlined barrier measures that must be respected. In Japoma, that's talking about Group B, and equally here at the Bepanda Municipal Stadium, where we find ourselves this evening talking about Group C of the ongoing African Nations Championship. Back to you, Gladys Tata.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama. A seminar to present a digital platform for the identification of commercial bike riders has taken place in Yaoundé, with council officials making inputs for the platform to go operational. The details of the platform were revealed to the transport stakeholders, as you tell us, Mukwele Prince-Will Aduma.
A digital platform for the identification of commercial motorbikers nationwide is a step towards curbing acts of criminality and urban disorder.
If you just take digitalization, it's a fraction. We have to think about social protection of motor taxi, security of customer.
In this seminar of council and security officials, DigiPol values the establishment of a common checklist.
We are there to present this digital platform to the mayors. The badge will have his phone number and the number of a member of his family, so that if there is a problem, we can call this member.
Bike riders, most of them serving as vectors of insecurity. We shouldn't have them for now until this sector is regularized.
Be it as it may, tracking their growing number of over 2 million eases the element of inclusiveness requirement for a thriving economy.
The Parliamentary Network for the Promotion of Insurance Coverage in the country, the Parliamentary Network for the Promotion of Insurance and Banks in Cameroon has been exploring ways of improving social insurance and coverage in the country. A delegation of the network led by its president, Honorable Findi Stanley Makondo, had held a working session with the Director General of the National Social Insurance Fund. Both men laid the foundation, the groundwork for the collaboration between the network and the National Social Insurance Fund. As you tell us, Charles Anangwe.
Social insurance coverage in Cameroon is still very low, with only about 1% of the population covered. This worrying situation led to the creation of the Parliamentary Network for the Promotion of Insurance.
There are so many temporary workers at the level of the different ministries. These workers will work for so many years without being covered. And unlike their other counterparts, they will go on retirement without any benefit.
Members of the network held this working session with the Director General of the National Social Insurance Fund to explore ways of reversing the trend.
We are very pleased and to have the first step of discussion on how to improve the social coverage of Cameroonians.
It was made known during the meeting that members of the network will work with officials of the CNPs in the days ahead to lay the groundwork for a seminar that will be held at the National Assembly in March 2021, during which innovative methods will be sought to get more people insured, especially temporary workers and those under the voluntary insurance scheme.
On to this advertorial, students of the University of Chang's Faculty of Agronomy and Agricultural Sciences are looking forward for training in the field of entrepreneurship. Their hopes have been rekindled by a tripartite agreement signed between Cameroon, Côte d'Ivoire and France in Yaoundé. The agreement, which was brokered by the Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, will enable the African giant in food systems and entrepreneurship, Cher Pascal Castel, partner with the university. Ebune Ekane of CRTV Center tells us more.
The African continent has numerous challenges in the domain of agriculture to ensure food security for an ever-increasing population, at the same time preserving its natural resources. The signing of this partnership between the Pierre Castel Foundation and the government of Cameroon seeks to provide professional training to some students in the domain of agriculture to enable them become self-reliant.
The first one is definitely the cooperation between two main institutions in France, in Ivory Coast and in Cameroon, and this sense of cooperation is absolutely fundamental. And it is absolutely fundamental also in the perspective of providing and enhancing the entrepreneurship and innovation. So it is new. The question of novelty, the question of innovation and new is absolutely fundamental in entrepreneurship.
While presiding at the event, the Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famendongo, saluted this public-private partnership, which falls in line with the professionalization of education in the country.
You can hire people, train them, give them some skills and competences, and be sure that at the end of the day, they will have the enterprises. We have already created 58 enterprises like this inside our university. So the Pierre Castel Share we are hosting from now join this CATI to increase our capacity to produce entrepreneurship students. With those three universities, Bordeaux Sciences Agro, École supérieure d'agronomie et Yaoundé and FASA, Faculté d'agronomie et sciences agricoles of the University of Chang, will join together to be sure that this can be possible.
The Pierre Castel Foundation, created in 2017 by Pierre Castel and Pierre de Gaëtan Jicam, seeks to empower young entrepreneurs in the agricultural sector to ensure food self-sufficiency in the African continent.
The Adamawa region, known as the Water Tower of Cameroon, has a myriad of tourist attractions, including cattle markets, palaces of Lamidos, traditional architecture, all surrounded by a mountainous landscape. In continuation of our series on attractions around the country, we take interest in the Balmare rocky landscape of Mayo Baleo, which is considered as a sacred place by the inhabitants. Elvis Waji Banmia takes us on a ride.
A peaceful and paradisiac environment. This is how many inhabitants of Mayo Baleo describe this rocky Bemlare landscape. The wonders of this space include twisted cliffs and refreshing rock pools, best for swimming and other leisure activities.
C'est un don de Dieu.
This is a gift from God. We think He had mercy on us and created this touristic attraction, which helps to have a cool head, especially during the dry season. The indigenous Pere people attributed the name Bemlari to the site due to these hanging sticks, linking Jamtari and other villages, as well as help for a better exploration of the rocky site. We are thinking of ameliorating access to the site, creating a hotel around and also a restaurant for visitors. These spectacular jagged rocks today attract many people who commune with nature and often take home some precious stones as souvenirs.
Well, that does it on this edition of the 7:30 News. Thanks for watching. Take the rendezvous at 8:30 with Adele Mbala for the news in French. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. Until then, stay blessed and good night.
I have personally observed that most of our fellow citizens no longer comply with the protective measures prescribed by the government.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.
This is the time to heal in America. An inauguration plane to go up, being there.
It's when we win, just the United States of America.
Janvier, février, l'info c'est le CHAN. Rendez-vous sur CRTV News du 16 janvier au 7 février tous les soirs à 22h30. CHAN Moment, des prolongations craquantes à chaud avec Bertin Ayama, arbitre central.
Malgré nos efforts, le Covid-19 a endeuillé de nombreuses familles et provoqué de graves difficultés dans le fonctionnement de notre économie et de notre société.
This is the time to heal in America. An inauguration plane to go up, being there.
It's when we win, just the United States of America.